Good afternoon. My name is Kurt Roseman, and I am the Technical Support Manager here at ACT-CRM for ACT Support. Today, we're going to go over how to create a database in ACT. So what I'm going to go over today is how to create an ACT database, how to fill out the My Record. I'll explain that more once we get to it and what it means. Then we'll go over adding users, and then we'll talk about the quick study guide. Okay, so let's go ahead and start ACT. Okay, so when we first start ACT, we see what's known as the welcome screen here. There's a couple options of what we can do to create a database. We can either open an existing ACT database by clicking on that and hit OK, and it'll take us to a location to where we can try and open a database, or we can create a new database. We can click here, or we can click up here, or we can actually go here. So we'll go ahead and click a new database. Okay, and this is where we give our database a name. It's always important to remember what your database name is. I suggest maybe naming it after your business or something that you'll remember. I wouldn't give it, a name like, contacts or something like that. That's kind of hard, kind of a common name to try and find. So what I'm going to name this one is, we'll just call it, let's try training database. And the location, this is a location where it's going to actually save the database at. This is the default location, usually under the users, My Documents, ACT and ACT database. You can, however, browse and put it wherever you want. So if you wanted to maybe create a folder on your C drive called ACT data, you could put it there and have a database folder there. But I suggest just go ahead and leaving it at the default location. Currency, this is obviously where we pick the currency of what we want in the database. You can choose from a whole myriad of currencies here. As we are in Australia, I'm going to keep the Australian dollar. Unfortunately, at this time, you cannot choose multi-currencies, but yes, so it's only one currency per database. Okay, if I wanted to share this database with other users, I would go ahead and leave that tick. Okay, so now it's asking me for a username. Okay, so this again is very important. When you create any database, it's always going to make you put a username in. Okay, it's always important. I always suggest put your first name space then your surname. Why we do this is because, one, if you do a mail merge or anything, personal emails or personal letters out to customers, it's normally going to pull from that field. So if you were to send a letter out and you had front desk or front reception for the username or reception, that's what it's going to assign on the letter. You can actually change it and customize the templates, but it's just easier to do it this way. So always I suggest your first name and surname. And the password field, if you wanted a password, you could have a password, but we're going to leave it blank for now. I'm going to hit OK on this, and it's telling me that a database already exists with that name. So you can't have two databases with the same name. So I'll give it a different one. I'll just call it Training 1. Hit OK, and it's going off to create our database. And we'll just wait for this to happen. Okay, so it's created it, and it's actually opened it up. And it's told me I've already shared the database, so that's fine. We'll actually cover at another time how to access a database across the network or how to share your database across the network. But if you wanted to, you could just click on here and you could copy the PAD file, which would be in here, that you could put on the other person's computer so they can open the database. So we'll go ahead and hit OK on this. Okay, so once we create the database, once again, you're set up with a welcome screen here with some information, some helpful information, getting started. Here's a quick start for new users, important data. It'll take you how to do that. There's some featured videos here. There should be some content here that we'll pull from a website. So if we also go to help, we can go to feature tours, and here are a bunch more tours where these are actual recorded videos that will help you do what you need to do and act. Okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to click down here where it says contacts, and we should have 101, which is going to be the My Record. This is where I was talking about the My Record. Okay, so what I suggest doing is filling this out. Let's go ahead and CRM, address, level 4, 62 Collins Street. We'll put Melbourne, beautiful state, Victoria. Country is Australia. Always important to put the country in because it pulls information from the phone fields with that as well. Again, if we look at the phone field here, we'll look at the list. It's set up in a certain way. So this is the default way that it's going to want to put information in. You can actually change it to freeform, which I like to do, and hit OK. I don't like the 0 in front of it, so I'm going to put 386884444. Again, you'll have to do this for each phone field. Hit OK. 0417 555 698. Okay. And then the email address, so we'll put support@actcrm.com.au, and that should pretty much be enough. Okay, so there's the My Record. Every time you open up ACT, it's going to pull up whoever you logged into the databases. So if we add another user and I log in as that user, it'll always pull that person's My Record. Okay, so this is what's considered My Record. So if I can go to lookup, I can go to advanced, and I could look up all users, which are all the people that are defined users in the database. Okay, so that's done. That's basically the My Record. We've created our first contact in there. So if I go ahead and close ACT down, then I go ahead and reopen up ACT, it'll go ahead and open that database up. Now, one thing to remember to watch here is you'll notice when I open it up, it doesn't ask for a login. It just goes straight into the database. Okay. I'm going to hit no at this time for that. Hit OK. Then I'm going to go to contacts again, and we have our one user. Okay, so now if we want to use or add users, we just go to Tools, Manage Users. Now you need to have administrative rights or management rights to be able to add users. Okay, so if we look Manage Users, you'll see that I'm in here, Kurt Roseman. I'm an administrator. I'm active, and it tells me the last time I logged on. Also how many licenses I have and how many licenses for additional active users I have. Okay, so now we have another person that wants to access the database. So we're going to go ahead and hit Create New User. Now, there's two ways I can do this. I can create a new user like this, who's not in my database. If you notice, this is grayed out. I can't choose it because there's only one person in our database, and it's already specified to a user. So I don't want to go through the trouble of having to type everything in back in again. So I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go, okay, well, we got one person here. So this other person, Joel, works for ActCRM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Contact. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate the contact. Now, I can duplicate data from primary fields, or I can duplicate data from all fields. Okay, so that's just going to duplicate the contact, with every field the way it is. But I just want to do data from the primary fields. Okay. So when I hit OK on that, you'll see that the address field will stay the same, the country, the company. The other thing that probably won't is phone numbers and the email address. So let's go ahead and hit OK on that, and there you go. Okay, so now it's created. Well, the phone number is still the same, but that's fine. The mobile number is not. So again, we're going to create a contact here. We're going to call him Joel. We're going to go Clark. Okay, and we'll leave the phone number the same. His email address is sales@actcrm.com.au. And again, all this stuff stays the same. That's good. Brilliant. It's mobile. To change that. And OK. And everything looks good. Okay, so now we have Joel. We have a whole nother person in the database now. So now what we need to do is we go to Tools, Manage Users. We'll go ahead and create that new user. Now we'll see that we can actually create it. This isn't grayed out anymore, so we can actually create from there. So we'll hit next, and look, Joel's the only person in the database, so we'll go next. And we're going to give Joel management rights, be a manager, no password. We're not going to make him change his password. We can actually, with the password fields, make somebody change their password when they log on. We can make it so they can't. We can make it so the password never expires. Again, at this point, we're just going to leave it blank. Active pending logon, that's fine. And we're going to finish. Okay, now we have Joel Clack in there, and his status is active pending logon. Can't see that, but there you go. And then we'll hit close. Okay. So now what we need to do is we'll close Act again. And this time when we open up Act, we're going to be presented with something different. We're going to see that it's going to ask us to log on. Okay. So we don't want to log in as Kurt. We're going to go ahead and log in as Joel Clark. Hit OK. And we'll go ahead and go to the contacts page again. And we'll notice that it's actually pulled up Joel. Okay, so there's Joel, and that's his My Record. So if I were to go to, there's 2 records in the database. Again, I could do a lookup advanced by users, and it would bring the 2. There's not much point in doing it now because they're already there. Okay, so as you can see, creating a database is pretty simple. Adding users is pretty simple. Now, I talked about the Act Quick Study Guide. You can find the Quick Study Guide at that address. You can buy it there. It's loaded with quick tips and all kinds of information, not only on how to create a database, on how to add users, how to schedule activities, all kinds of stuff. So it might be worth taking a look at if you like to read it there. As I said, there's also the videos and from the Quick Start Guide there that will help you go on as well. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and have a good day.